Hey, welcome back to another episode this week from Life for Living Well. I hope you are well, and thank you for your time for listening to the podcast again for this week. The topic I have for you this week, I call it Intrinsic Power of Mind. But before I go straight into the podcast, let's do what I usually do when I start this podcast, is to announce any new information that for new people that just joined the podcast. If you'd like to know more about what Life for Living Well does, you can check us out on our community website at www.lifeforlivingwell.info or www.lifeforlivingwell.com. Once again, my name is Richard, and I will be the anchor for this week for the podcast. So the topic that I have in mind to talk about this week, I call it Intrinsic Power of Mind. If there is any single component that can shape a person's life, it is how such a person manages his or her mind. Alternatively, the mind manages his or her behavior or emotions because of the actions such a person is taking or inaction. Many of us didn't realize how much our mind created the experience we are having right now. There's so many books out there. There's so many individuals that talk about how you use your imagination. But before anything become manifestation in your physical realm, you got to be captured by your conscious mind. And before you register on your unconscious mind, you have to be able to put your mind repeatedly having the same kind of thought until that thought come to the fulfillment. You've seen many people that they're sabotaging their relationship just because they couldn't just trust anyone else, and they play in their mind day and night, and they do exactly what they are afraid most. They push the person away because of their own thought, which are hijacking their own mind. So why we don't use this power element that we have as a creativity object, ourselves, our mind? Why is it we don't use it to create a positive experience into our life? It's because either we don't know enough about it, so we don't change, or we have not work already to be able to make those changes in our life. Personally, I've experienced this a lot in my life, that I've focused on the thought of what I wanted to make happen, visualize it. And then I noticed that then I have the energy, I have the drive, I have the motivation to do the work that I need to do to make it come to pass. I've spoken to a few people in the past, and I know one or two people. Every time they find themselves in a situation where they needed to settle unexpected bill, or they needed to anything related to financial, they are automatically thinking of borrow the money. Even though they complain to me about the debt that they have, but deep down, they still accepted debt as a normal thing for them. But subconscious, they are not happy with it. So there is a conflict here. There's a conflict on their conscious mind, and there's a conflict with their unconscious mind. And in my personal observation, you manifest a lot of things in your life when your conscious and your subconscious become in agreement. If you have a desire to make more money, you will have so much drive to make it happen. Not necessarily you will work so hard, you will work even more smarter. You will think about multiple streams of incomes. You will put your energy on things that achieve that aim. But in order to be into that level, something needed to change in your life. Your box needs to be open and your eyes need to be open. And the only thing that open all these things quicker for you is affirmation that you have with yourself, and to open your mind. Even if you spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes every day and do the affirmation of things that you want to make happen. I know it's difficult to use logic and rationalize about it, because you might say just a mere word of affirmation, what is that going to create for you? It's going to unlock your mind. Because if you don't think something is not good for you, you're not going to change it. If you think that in your family, in your group of circle, all of you always earn a certain amount of income, all of you certain live in certain area. So the moment you get there, you just feel content with that. So what I'm trying to say with this podcast is, don't underestimate the power of intrinsic mind, because the more you let your mind control you, you become enslaved to it. It takes you to where you don't want to go. And when your mind becomes your master, it's a terrible master. So why can't you find a way to become a master of it by being proactive, or you want it to create it? Allow it to open the door to your unconscious, so your attitude, your behavior will change. I know someone 3 years ago. 2 weeks before the end of the month where he gets salary, he always asks his friend to loan him some certain kind of money until they pay there. And he was doing this all the time. And he was only doing it with one particular friend. And that particular friend was happy to continue to do that. But I can say the relationship is very unhealthy, because it's overly dependent on that person. And so I wanted to figure out why he's doing that. Apparently, his attitude to debt, his attitude to borrowing this money was totally different to what he's trying to achieve for himself. So the first thing to do is to let his mind open, so he can begin to even think for himself. Is it something that he really wants to do, or is something that he just finds himself doing it without having time to question it? So the moment his mind opened, he did not want it that way. So he changed that drastically. And one of the things he said to me is that he wanted to raise 3-month emergency savings, which was good for him. And also he didn't want to call his friends or family any responsibility that around £500. He wanted to be able to go to his account and take it. This is a person that we asked his friend to put £30 into his account. So he began to change his own life like that, because of his mind change, and then he has to do the work. So don't be misunderstanding that your mind change and then the work we do is said. No, you will do the work. But what will make you do the work? You have a drive, you have a motivation, you have the hunger to make that change happen. And it's only, as someone said, that people only change if they ought enough or if they learn enough. So you have to decide which group of people you belong to. Are you kind of people that ought enough before you change? Are you kind of people that you spend your time to acquire more knowledge by listening to a podcast like this, or reading a book, or listen to a similar podcast that open your mind, open your eye, and then you do the work that you have to do? I've also met the third group of people that none of these two change anything from them. So maybe in their lifetime, knowledge, understanding, growth is not the thing that their main goal, and that is fine. But what I'm saying to you right now, as you listen to me this week, is do not let your mind be a master over you. If If you do that, you become a terrible master. But become a master over your mind. Sometimes when you take it to where you don't want to go, take control of it, release it, and feed it with the thoughts and desire of what you want to create in your life. Even if it's only 5 minutes a day, you begin to experience it in a way that you are not imagining it. Things will start falling on your ground. You will start, if you want to create a business, you will start maybe creating the website and the product. Then you begin to also meet the people that will also help you to do that. But if you don't take that first steps, it is impossible for things to start rolling for you. You have the desire, you have the courage, you have the confidence to approach the people if you need the help. So, the intrinsic power of mind. Multiple sages and wise people have argued that the major obstacle to success and growth in a man's life is his mind. As man taketh, he becomes. Personally, it's remarkable when you have the opportunity to observe men and women who have used their minds to overcome insurmountable challenges with the help of their mind. In this area, I actually come to the conclusion that most things in life is about our perspectives. Me and you can go through the same boat, the same experience. We might come out differently. It's how we view it. And the narrative you put to your problem will determine whether you wanted to turn that problem to challenges, and that challenges make a part of you that was there, but you didn't know exists until this opportunity comes. So the narrative you tell yourself is very key to determine what kind of image you projected to your mind. You have to do it like an implant that your mind says. If you feel and think and believe you are a lovable person, your actions alone will generate this energy. Everything in this world is energy. Even as I'm talking to you, it's a power of energy that making the speech become word, making the words become more readable and able to listen to it. So imagine you wanted to make a friend, it requires energy. Imagine that you want to build a business, it requires even more powerful energy to make this happen. But you will not be able to do all these things if you just create a business by copycat somebody else. Or everybody is doing it, I'm going to do it. You find yourself that you started, but you won't be able to finish it because you haven't been impregnated of the ideas that you wanted to burn. So, folks, as you listen to me right now, I want you to begin to think, what is it that is very important to you? How do you want to go around and manifest this thing? I actually suggest that try to have few things that you wanted to create and use power of affirmation, visualization to implant this thing into your mind. Do it as long as it takes you, because sometimes you say all these things, but it has not reached your subconscious yet. But the more the repetitive of it becomes catch up with your conscious level and subconscious, and this is when you become like a pregnant that you are carrying something in you and you become restless to make it happen. So think of belief system. Most of it can mess up your life completely. I met someone recently that said because she's a certain age, she knows everything, even though she doesn't know everything, even though she doesn't know a lot of things, but she thinks her opinion is the fact. But this is the video that is not really interested in truth or fact, not because she doesn't know, but because of the culture and the belief how the person was raised. They were so identifying themselves with that belief that they cannot separate who they are from the belief systems. We are more than our name, we are more than our age, we are more than our gender, we are more than the friends we have, we are more than the things outside of us like family, children, job, status, name, money. We're more than that. But all those things make little part of us. They are just labels that have so many different labels through us. But the belief system, I've seen it screwed up people big time. But if you are prepared and ready to confront them, you can change your life. But Einstein once said, you cannot solve a problem with the same consciousness that created it. So, meaning that the same belief system that you run your life for a while, if you're not ready to confront those belief systems and look at it with a different telescope and ask yourself, how does this belief serve me? Sometimes you speak to some people and you tell them, what are you working on? So, I'm actually planning to do this course or do this training. And then the person will turn around, at your age, what are you still studying for? You cannot take this thing personally, because in their mind, there's an age where a person should stop studying. And that is their belief system. And that's how they live their life. And they expect everybody to live their life because that's the belief system. Perhaps that's people that they know, they stop studying certain age. Well, while learning to use our mind to work for us, but not against us, how you may ask this, that what is the best way to learn about using your mind to work for you. A mind that works against us often may compel us to become enslaved to our belief system. But folks, I'm encouraging you this week, let your mind work for you in area of your life, such as in your relationship. Be more proactive, be more imaginative, be more inventive. What kind of relationship you want? If you want a relationship with your friend, with your romantic partner, with your family, create it first in your mind and then see it happen, because you will do the work. If you self-love is what you're lacking, you're not always running to these people to giving you the validation, attention, affirmation, and love that you want. You already have it enough in yourself, so you're able to give it without overly depending outside of you. Talk, for example, your interpersonal skills. Are you the kind of person that are afraid to talk to a stranger, or are you kind of person that every time you have a simple conversation with people that you care about, it's always turned to a conflict? This is where you will embrace more compassion and you will find a way to improve your communication skills or setting the appropriate boundary and expectations. And I actually feel sense that most of the challenging things that people have in their relationship is the expectations and ideas of other person. Imagine you're talking to an adult of 80 years old, but in your head, you are thinking you're talking to 80 years old, so there's expectation how 80 years old should behave. Perhaps this individual is just 4 years old emotionally, and if they do what 4 years old does, you might not feel angry with 4-year-old. If you throw the car key to you, you might just laugh it off. But if 86-year-old person do the same to you, you might really feel cross. You might put so much meaning to it, like, it's very disrespectful, it's so abusive, it's so this, it's so that. It could be all those things. But I'm trying to explain to you that our narrative and the expectation that we have sometimes put us into trouble, where we begin to making ourselves a victim rather than calling out a bad behavior. But once you create in your mind the kind of relationship you want for yourself and the people around you, so you will create an appropriate boundary where when people violated that, you also be able to take a right actions at that moment rather than become a victim of it. We're coming toward the end of it. Let your mind work for you in many areas of your life, such as your relationship, interpersonal skill, business, even in goal settings. Sometimes looking from afar, it seems some people are lucky and fortunate than the rest. In reality, many people are self-made success stories. Why? Because they have made their minds work for them. You got to make your mind work for you. When your mind works against you, it's a terrible master. You will not like it. You will not enjoy it. It will screw up your life. Henry Ford once said, if you think you can, and if you think you cannot do a thing, you are probably right. So many people think and feel they are victims of their own mind. Do not become one of them. If you already allow your mind to control a certain percentage of your life, as a result of this podcast, begin to change that direction of travel. Begin to develop a new habit of spending 5 minutes or 10 minutes creating your own word of affirmations, and try to put it in your implant until it become part of you. For those who learn how to drive, in the beginning it's tough to remember everything that you have to do to make the car move. But if you've been driving for numbers of months and years, you're no longer even thinking about it. You jump into the car, you start the ignition key, you know what you have to do, and you just become autopilot. This is what will happen to you once you embrace to be the person in charge of your mind. You begin to change or experience things that you want, and it can work in opposite direction. If you fill your mind with a lot of negative emotion, negative narrative, you begin to experience or attracting more of that into your life. So I'm leaving it right now, and I want you to just think why so many people think and feel they are victim of their own mind. And this is a big lie, and you can smash it today. However, how and what meaning you place on almost everything that has happened to you may lead to emotions you will feel. So this is what I'm saying earlier, that the narrative that we create around things that's happening in our life, it has so much power in what we experience in the physical world. Knowing you have power and choice how you use your mind, either as a productive or achievable tools. Never allow your mind to be enslaved. You will end up paying too much of a price, both in short and long time. You don't want to do this. You really don't want to allow your mind to be your masters. People that have learned to use their mind to work for them, these people are willing to confront and evaluate their belief system. I haven't met anyone that doesn't have a belief system. Some people, their belief system is so obvious to know after you spend 5 minutes with them. Some people, their belief system is so subtle that you will have to spend more time to really know what is motivating them. And I said that everyone should occasionally look into themselves and see what's motivating them. Because what motivating you might not actually leading you to what you actually want most in your life, for your life. Especially the belief system that has enshrined in their mind. They change the belief system, abolish it. So the people that have changed their life around, one of the things that they manage to do is overcome their belief systems. Every belief system that limited them. I'm not saying that belief system is bad, But most belief system that you might have grown up is adaptable one. It was given to you without you actually looking into it, that is really suitable for my own life. You just follow it like a master plan. But one scripture said, you shall know the truth, and that truth shall set you free. So become your own truth. Confront your belief system that does not serve your life or support the outcome you desire. So I hope you have enough courage this week to work on your power of intrinsic mind and use your mind to create, attract, make things that you want to happen in your life come to pass. Some of them will happen in a twinkling of light. Some of them might take time to happen because you are not ready for it. Even though you ask for it, you are not, until it becomes implant in your subconscious and your conscious level. Then this thing will come to pass. So, people, I hope you have an amazing week. I'm going to bring this podcast to the end. Like I said, if you like to know more about Life for Living Well, you can find out more on our website at www.lifeforlivingwell.info or www.lifeforlivingwell.com. Once again, my name is Richard. You can send me email at richard@lifeforlivingwell.info or richard@lifeforlivingwell.com. I will surely respond back to your email. And thank you so much for your time this week, and thank you for your support. Please stay safe and have a good week.